Hello, everyone. I'm Julianne Meyer. You are watching Own Your Wellness. And before we start, I got to tell you guys about something. Yesterday was my brother's birthday, and he passed away 9 years ago. So I was looking through all my old photos to find a picture of him, and a particular picture of him. And while I was doing that, I ran across, well, first of all, a million memories that I'd forgotten about. So that was fun. But I also ran across this really cool picture. I hope you guys can see it. This is me being kissed. Oh, you see my lights in the way. Being kissed by a wolf. A wolf, people. A wolf made out with me. I had the opportunity actually on a regular basis to hang out with wolves. And it made me think about how, fun experiences really can change and alter somebody's life and turn them for the better. And in that particular moment, it was called wolf therapy, and it was for people with addictions. And I was working at the time. But the point of me sharing that is that, it's important to have fun too. It's so important to live a full life and do all the things that are good for you and have fun, exciting experiences. And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to speak with today's guest, because he is amazing. Wait till you guys meet him. Oh my goodness. He is up to some amazing stuff. And oh my gosh. You know what? Let me just introduce him. Shaun Banks, welcome to the show. So glad to have you here.
Hey, Julia, how are you?
So good. So good to have you here. For those that are watching, I did some internet stalking and I found Shaun, and I went down the rabbit hole and was following him on his website and social media and all these things. And you are a colorful character and so much fun and doing many wonderful things in the world. So thank you for being here. I'm so glad you can share your energy and your joy with us today.
Hey, well, thank you for having me. And you're forever going to be called Dances with Wolves now, because as soon as I'm like, forever, I'm like, Dances with Wolves. I'm like, take me right to Kevin Costner. I'm like, but I love it because I looked and I said, wait a minute, I know that's an animal. I was like, is that a llama? I said, no, that's not a llama. That's a wolf. I'm like, that is a wolf. I'm like, yeah. My kind of lady, no fear at all.
Actually, no, and it was really weird because even though, you can't tame a wild animal, you can domesticate them a little bit, right, but you cannot tame them, and there's a huge difference. They are still feral. So
and it wasn't a puppy either. It wasn't a cub or whatever. I mean, that was a full-grown canine.
No, huge. Yeah. We're talking hundreds of pounds.
Yeah,
so
yeah. He fought some bears.
I know. Cool. But anyway, I would love for you to share a bit about yourself and how you got to be doing what you're doing today.
Oh, well, my mother is my inspiration, and who is really just opened up the doors for my sister and I. From Seattle, Washington originally. Grew up in inner city Seattle, just where there was just gang violence and drugs. I remember what it was like before crack came into the inner city, what it was like once crack hit the inner city, and just watching that dynamic and how it impacted our lives. And then watching my mom change, right? Mm-hmm. Just from, her sense of urgency to get us out of that situation. And that catapulted us to a different place in our life. And that's what inspired me to go after my dreams and to get into youth development. I never wanted to work with kids. I couldn't stand kids at all. It wasn't my passion, but I saw the need for it. And as I started kind of looking at that need and being around youth, I realized that it was something that I wanted to do. And that actually came out of a tragedy that happened with our family years before that.
Oh man, you know what? Yeah. I didn't know you were from Seattle. Sorry, this is totally like not my takeaway, but I grew up in Renton, which is a suburb of Seattle.
What? Oh my God! Are you serious?
Yeah.
Lakeview, is it Lakeview Elementary School? What is it? Oh my God, I can't remember. Yes. There's a Lakeview Elementary School. I went there for 6th grade. My teacher was Mr. Hannon, right in Renton. Yes. Yeah, I have some Renton stories we'll have to talk about. I'll tell you a good story about Renton and and when the oil went out in our house.
Oh man. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that renting story.
That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah. I was actually up for Christmas. My parents now live up by the Canadian border,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, going through there, it totally looks
Wow.
different now. It's just like, wow.
Wow. Wow. Small world. Like, isn't that
Yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Wow. That is totally cool. That's totally cool. Okay. All
It
right.
is.
All right. You're a
But
homie for real now.
yeah. But anyway, something that you said that this was my takeaway, um, was that, you mentioned that it was never your passion. And it's interesting to me because we have this idea that, we have to be passionate about what we do. But a lot of the times, I mean, I'm not saying that that's a bad, route to go, but a lot
Right.
of times it's more like, you see a need, you want to fill it, and then it becomes your passion because you get good at it and it's fun and
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I didn't, I mean, that's kind of what happened for me, right? It was this situation where I didn't want to do any of it. I knew that I wanted to be free. I wanted to have my own time and I wanted to control my time. And my idea of how I thought that was going to happen was completely different from how it happened. If someone would
Mhm.
have said to me, Shaun, you're going to be able to control your time or take your time back in your life. And you're going to do that by working with youth and doing youth development and working with parents. I would have said, I would have bet money like there's no way that's going to happen. Like, I'm not doing that. But that is exactly what happened in my life. And that is how things changed for me. It was definitely seeing something that I saw was out of place, working on it, and then just falling in love with the idea of what I was doing and then not wanting to do anything else but that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's a really interesting, it's I feel like a lot of people could really miss their purpose if they're so caught up on the idea of having to be passionate about, how it looks.
Yeah. Yeah. That part. That part. Yeah, you don't have to be passionate how it looks. I mean, I didn't like how it looked at all. I mean, I didn't want to, I mean, these booger fingers and all this stuff, man, and snotty noses. I mean, and then, working with kids has its own set of just challenges anyway. I'm like, these
Mhm.
aren't my kids. I mean, you can only reprimand someone else's children so much. And, and
Mhm.
these are kids that are, they're kicking people and they're spitting on people. I mean, they're kids, right? And
Yeah.
so you don't have to love it initially. It's finding well, the thing is this, there's nothing to love about the problem, right? When you
Mhm.
start thinking about, okay, what's the problem in the world, you're not going to love it because it's the problem. It's
Mhm.
what you start to fall in love with is the solutions that start coming out of working on the problem. And so that is what I actually fell in love with, being able to see a kid that, for example, I did a test for a young lady, for a class of kids. There was a young lady there that prior to doing the test, she could not, she was afraid of loud noises. She didn't know if she could do any of the techniques. And now when we come to class, this 6-year-old little girl is
Mhm.
fired up, right, about doing her belt test in her class, right? And her parents
Mhm.
were able to see that for the first time. And that's what you fall in love with. It's the results that you start to see happening, and the lives being changed.
Wow, I love that. That's very well said. So,
Yeah.
we've been sort of skirting around what you do with kids. I would love for you to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So,
yeah. And
well,
actually, first of all, I want to hear about your shirt.
oh wow. So these are our characters. These are some of our personal development characters. This is Team Hot Sauce, and Team Hot Sauce are guardian defenders. They're a bunch of vegetables that go all over the galaxy fighting insects, right? Because insects eat vegetables, and helping people along the way with personal development skills, right? So it's all about how to build friendship, building confidence, building self-efficacy, work ethic, discipline, learning how to just love someone regardless of the differences, right? Agreeing to disagree. It's all about development skills for kids. And so on this shirt, you have Broccoli. He's actually a shadow ninja and a lawyer. That's what he wants to do because the idea is that you can be whatever you want to be in life, baby. You just got to believe it. And this is Catch. He's a tomato, right? So we got that from the joke about How do the tomato that's walking and they turn around and tell him to catch up? That's catch. And he's actually a gamer. And in this scenario, he forgot his lunch. And so he forgets the simple things, right? But he always remembers the most important stuff. And that's kind of one of those things that makes him eclectic. And that's one of the things we want to teach kids. It's okay to be yourself, right? You don't have to fit in with anybody else.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it's Team Hot Sauce. Yeah, and fun.
It doesn't have to be difficult to teach, these so-called big concepts,
Yeah.
it would have been nice to have something like that when I was a kid so that, I wasn't just, nobody teaches you things like what to do with your feelings when you're upset or, like it's okay to be you. You don't have to be like everybody else. So
right,
I really
right.
appreciate that.
Right. Well, and it's just as important as learning math, right? And learning science and learning how to read is how to deal socially, how to cope, right? How to deal with, everybody doesn't get a trophy, right? And that's something that kids have to learn in life, man. Hey, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. That's okay, right? You learn from those losses, you get better, right? How to deal with that, how to deal with someone not wanting to be your friend. Well, you're not going to like everybody and everybody's not going to like you, but it doesn't mean you're not special. And so just to get into what it is that I do, obviously, the way it sounds, I work with youth. I'm in the youth development field. I mean, and just blazing a trail in showing parents how to enhance or accelerate the performance of their children as it regards to, personal development skills like their focus, their discipline. If a kid wants to be, an athlete, how to get them mentally sharp. If you want your child to believe in themselves, the steps to be able to do it, how to deal with, non-clinical thoughts of like suicide and depression, right? So I don't prescribe anything. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, but I have over the last 20 years of my life been able to come up with systems and ideas that I'm seeing results in with the youth I work with as it pertains to I Am Defense, which is the martial arts program I started in honor of my aunt and cousin that were murdered in a domestic violence situation, which turned into Camp Warrior King, which is a youth development camp that's all about exposing kids to activities during the summer that they normally wouldn't experience during the school year. And so, I mean, we're hiking, we're teaching them how to fish, how to hunt. We take them spelunking. I mean, they do karate, they do basketball, they do hair braiding, 3D tech classes, Lego robotics. We do board games. We have a board game class at camp, right? Teach them how to socialize. And it's just opened up this door for other things, right? You can have it all magazine, which is the thing that I'm so excited about, and just anything that has to do with developing kids. And that's where I am.
That's so wonderful. Oh my goodness. And I was thinking too, like, don't forget the bounce house. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's coming up on Saturday. Yeah.
and when I saw that, I was like, oh man.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have a ball. And the parents are like, do we bring the kids? And I'm like, well, yeah, it's for the kids. But I think the parents are more excited to do it than the kids are. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like this. It's like learning concepts about life. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't, it doesn't have to be like sitting at school. Not everybody likes to do that. So, just making it fun. And it's almost like the byproduct is the lesson.
Absolutely it is. I mean, it's not supposed to be difficult, right? Like, who wants to do anything difficult? Nobody really wants to do anything difficult. We force ourselves to do things difficult and to be uncomfortable, but basic concepts, especially as it pertains to kids, should not be difficult for them to do because you want them to be able to do them. You want them to want to do it, right? Hey, it's easy to be nice, right? You don't want to make it think it's hard to be nice, because then who the heck will want to be nice? Hey, it's easy to be nice. It's easy to be a friend. It's easy to make a friend, right? Now, as you get older, you realize it might be easier to make them, but it's a little bit harder to keep them. But but initially, right, the concept should be simple.
I like that. Yeah, exactly. And, I think too that the older we get, the more we make it complicated. I don't know that it's necessarily even that hard, but we make it harder because we have all these stories that we've learned and, that we tell ourselves and all of that. But
Yeah.
I really like that. I think not besides the fact that you help kids, just that you didn't want to.
Right. I didn't. I didn't want to. Well, I couldn't stand them. Oh God, I couldn't stand them at all. I didn't want to wear. I just didn't have a. I mean, it was like. I mean, I'm a guy, right? It's like I'm like a jock. I play sports and I've done all this other stuff. I'm like, I'm working with stinking kids. I like, and so it was this. I had this whole idea of kids, right? First of all, I mean, I was in my 20s and I didn't want to have kids. I mean, my idea of that was, to have kids when I was about 65, so I could have like kids and grandkids all at the same time, right? It was just like I'd be at that age where I could just do it one time and get it over with. And so I didn't have any interest in that. I was a bachelor, so no bachelor is interested in kids, and because it's like, I don't know, if you see one, they might, think you're cool, and all of a sudden you got kids, and then you can't do all the fun stuff you want to do. So I just wasn't interested in it. I was interested in business and wanting to make money for myself and just being an entrepreneur. And I just didn't know that it was going to happen this way, because the funny thing about it is that I'm in business. I'm an entrepreneur. I own my own time. I do this stuff for myself. It's just not how I thought it would happen. So that's the interesting thing I learned about life, is that you will get what you want, but it doesn't come in the package that you normally think it's going to come in. And that's a good thing, because normally the package is better, right? Like it's better than what you thought. You have this idea, right? I need it to be in a purple ribbon with, black and white polka dots around it. And it comes and it's a gold ribbon and it has, it's extravagant and it's bigger and better than you could have ever imagined yourself. And that is the great part about life. And that's why you have to push through all the junk to get to your dreams, because it's better at the end, or, at that point.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I love that. On that note, it is time for us to go to a commercial. So we're going to be back in just a minute. And for those of you who are watching us live, thank you so much for being here. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit more about the story about how it all came to be, from I don't want to do this to basically being a kid mogul. So we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining us now, I'm Julianne Meyer, and our guest today is Shaun Banks. Let's bring him back. Welcome back to the show.
Hey. Oh man. I'm so happy to just to be here, right? And this is just really exciting and a lot of fun. So man, thank you for having me. Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. During the commercial break, I was thinking about how, when you started out doing what you're doing as an entrepreneur, it did not look the way it looks now.
No.
And all people see is, and I don't want to call it the final product because it's always going to be changing, evolving, and growing. But
Right.
people see it for what it is now, and then they think, oh, well, I can't do that. That's like so much. But they don't understand that, it started out with a seed, an idea, and then it grew. So I would love for you to share a little bit about, what that process was like for you.
Wow. I mean, for me, it started out as a seed that I didn't want, right? And so that is kind of the unique thing about this journey in my life is that I didn't even want it. It was like, here, take this seed and plant it, and it's going to blow your mind. And I remember just hearing that, and I was like, but I don't want to. I don't want to do this. But doors started closing, right? So I was in the finance industry. I was in real estate. The market started turning about 2007. Really, it started about 2006, 2007. I mean, things just start to tighten up. And what I realized is that I was in an industry that I didn't love. And that's the thing about struggle is that what struggle will do is it'll test you, right? It'll see, if you really want it bad enough. And so what I found about that industry, the finance industry, is that it wasn't something I was in love with. It was something I could make money doing. And so I started to make a change. I started out teaching martial arts classes at schools because my mom had put me in martial arts as a kid to keep me out of trouble. Again, I was in inner city Seattle. There was drug violence, there was gangs, there was all this stuff going on. And my mom said, not you. You're going to go here. You're going to get some discipline. You're going to learn martial arts. You're going to stay busy. And that's what she did. I mean, she kept me so busy that I didn't have time to do anything really to get in trouble. I mean, I was a kid. So, of course, I got into stuff, but not at the level where it cost me my freedom, right? Or just messed me up. And so fast forward, I had this crazy work ethic that to be able to push through things because I watched my mother do it. My mother was able to get us out of the hood by cleaning houses. And I tell this story because, when you think about things you can do to make money to get free, nobody really thinks about being somebody's housekeeper. That's a dirty job, right? When you have to clean somebody's house and just the way that it looks, the perception, right? And so as a kid, we're cleaning houses and people would talk about us, right? Man, you're cleaning houses, you're somebody's maid, blah, 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 blah. But we had a dream. And that is what allowed me to do what I'm doing now as an adult. When I started, I had one school. I had zero money. It was at that time, it was either go live back in your mom's basement. I had a house. I had all this stuff from doing what I was doing and had lost it all. And it was, you can either go back and live in your mother's basement or you can go live in your sister's basement. And I said, okay, you hit rock bottom. All right. I had been homeless before as a kid. I dealt with all this stuff. And I said, well, I don't want to go back to my mom's because I don't know how it's going to really make me feel about myself. Let me go to my sister's house. I feel a little, that's like a step up, right? From being at your mom's. It's like, crashing on my sister's couch sounds better than, oh man, I'm living back at my mama's. So, but it was hard. And I started from there with zero. I was taking care of my younger cousin. He was in his junior year in high school when I lost everything. My dog died. I mean, everything fell apart. The girl I loved, she was gone. I mean, everything just kind of fell apart for me. And I started back little by little. My first year of doing Camp Warrior King, I had lost all my savings again. I started selling insurance, making a little bit of money, working part-time, trying to do the martial arts program. When I started Camp Warrior King, I had lost all my savings again. I owed people money that were working for me. I was going to get kicked out of my apartment. I was able to paint the apartment units to be able to pay off the money I owed. That was the only way they let me stay there. And that was where the dream started. And that was what was going on. I was a regular guy. I wasn't some person that had all this different stuff, right? It was that I had a dream and I had to press And that's where this came from. I mean, totally. I was driving cars. I mean, I had a buddy that was a limo driver. I would get gigs from him to go pick up people. I mean, anything I could to try to make it. I mean, my power was out. I mean, I used to microwave to take a shower, right? So the gas got cut off in my apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and in Atlanta, it's hot, right, during the summertime. So I said, okay, I might be all right. Uh, so I would microwave my water. I would get a bowl, microwave the water, go sit in the bathtub, and then I would take a cat bath. So at least the water was hot, and then pour it over myself, and then use the cool water to rinse off real fast. That's where I was. That's where it started. Yeah, it was tough.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that is an important piece to share with people because, they see where you are now and they don't
Yeah.
realize, hey, like I'm the most real dude that you're going
Yeah.
to meet.
Yeah. I mean,
I know
yeah.
struggle.
I know struggle. I mean, I couldn't get dates, right? Like I know struggle. Like the the car I had, I never forget this one day. I washed my car and I didn't owe anything on it, but it was yet holding on. You know how you like put gum somewhere to stick something together? I had learned
that.
I had to MacGyver that sucker. Let me tell you, I had learned how to put pepper in the radiator to stop the radiator from leaking. Because the pepper expands, yeah, and it stops the hoses from leaking. I mean, that's where I was. So I didn't have a handle on the passenger side door. So the girls thought I was real chivalrous because I was like, hey, let me open the door for you. I would go in on my side, unlock their door, come back around and try to open their door to get them in before they realized I didn't have a door handle. And that was tough, right? That's tough on your ego. And you're supposed to have this big dream, but you don't see any of it coming together. And you really just see all these bills and all these challenges. And that's where I was. I mean, it was like that for me. Yeah.
So how did you, keep going? Because a lot of people would give up and go get a job somewhere, like just something to barely pay the bills, live paycheck to paycheck, and be completely miserable. But you didn't. You kept going. So what? You had to tell yourself something.
Yes. Every day I would tell myself something. So on my walls, and I've always had, you kind of see in the background, I have all these different pictures and things, and I have quotes. I have quotes all over my wall because I had to keep myself inundated with positivity. And that's what helped me. I think that every person is wired differently, and you have to know how to keep yourself positive. For some people, it's reading a book every single day. A quote on the wall may not work for them. For other people, it's listening to a song. For some other people, it might be talking to a particular person, or it might be prayer or meditation or whatever. For me, I needed it all. I would read every day positive books. I mean, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Dexter Yeager. I mean, anybody that I could get my hands on positive, I would listen to it, and I would listen to it over and over again. I have quotes on my wall. Like one of my favorite quotes is, "Today do what others won't do, and tomorrow you'll have what others can't have." That's actually a Les Brown quote, but I took and coined it myself because I said it so much. Another quote, right? It's not over till I win. That's Les Brown. One from Abraham Lincoln is, "I will prepare myself, and when the opportunity comes, I will be ready." A quote I like is, "Do what you got to do to get to where you want to be." And those are all the things I was saying to myself as I was washing myself and taking that water out of the microwave, washing myself, right? As I was eating, bean and weenies and Vienna sausage and doing whatever to try to make it. I mean, that was what I was saying to myself. And it was fueling me as I was battling the negative thoughts, battling the depression, right? Of, am I ever going to really make it? Is this really ever going to happen for me that I can be able to take care of my family? And I never forget, one of my prayers was, God, please allow my business to take care of me and my family. And one of the things that really set things on fire for me was when my oldest son was born. Or when I knew he was coming, first of all, before he was born. But I knew that joker was coming, and I was like, oh, now it's really gotten real. Like, I'm going to have to make this work. And I said, well, I want to be able to have the time to be able to see him and to be a father and to be the father I didn't have. And so that created some grit where it was like, doggone it, I don't care what happens. I'm not giving up, number one. And I'm going to make this work. I'm going to figure out how to make it work. And I became a student. And so that's what happened for me. I mean, it was rolling up my sleeves, tying up my boots, and getting to work, right? It wasn't asking anybody to give me anything except for knowledge. And I didn't have to ask them because they had already written books on it. And so I would read books, I would look at videos, I would take all these nuggets and apply it to my life, and the stuff worked.
That's amazing. I love that, because so many people would just give up and be like, oh, the universe is telling me that.
right. Telling me that this ain't working and I need to go do something else. No, and the whole thing is that the way I feel is that I serve a God that created the universe, and that God lives in me. So I command the universe. So my will be done. So I would will it to happen. The world has to yield to me. I don't yield to the world. The world yields to me. So when I say, hey, I'm going to do something, and I believe in God, I that is my strength. So when I say something's going to happen, man, it's a manifestation thing, right? You see it in your mind first. Like this character, like I'm wearing these hats and have this stuff. The reason why my hat is backwards, I have a character here. This is one of my characters. This is Egg Too Young. And the idea behind, it's an egg, and it's an it. You don't know what egg is going to be. And I did that for a reason, because it's an egg. It doesn't have any eyes. It doesn't have any ears. So the whole idea with Egg Too Young is I can be whatever I see. Well, how is it able to see it if it doesn't have any eyes? You see it in your mind first. And that was one of the things that worked for me. I would see it in my mind, what I want to do, and then I would make it a reality. You manifest it. Just like anything else, like the phone we're working on, or this cup, or the chair I'm sitting in. It was an idea, and people pressed to make that idea, and we see it happening every day. And so that was part of what I did. So you make the world yield to you. You don't yield to the world.
I love that. That's so powerful. You'll appreciate, I've got quotes and things all over my office, and there's one that really stuck with me, and it came from Unity Church, because I called in for prayer, and it had to do with money at the time, but I keep it up because I really love it. And it is, God is in charge and the source of my supply. And
yes.
It's not a particular client. It's not, whatever. It's whoever I work for. It's God is my supply.
Thank you. Absolutely. And the thing that happens, Julianne, so much is that then as we start to see success in our life, sometimes we forget that. We forget that God is the source, right? And so then that's where a lot of times the stress comes, because it's like, well, how am I going to do this? How am I going to figure this out? I was like, wait a minute, you didn't know how to do any of that before, right? You were leaning on these words, these scriptures, and it's like you can't stop doing that. You have to continue to always be a student, always stay hungry, right? Always keep yourself out of the center, because when you're in the center, then it's like, well, God's just going to move out the way. Okay, well, if you think you know it all, then okay, you know it all. Okay, well, let's see how much you know. We're going to let you go here and bang your head and get beat up. And then when you come back, we'll pat you up. Once those ears pop out, you'll remember who's really in control of this thing, who really got you where you are. And then now let's keep going. And so you're absolutely right. Absolutely. God is in control and the source.
So, I think one of the things I love about what you shared about, this wasn't what you imagined for yourself exactly. Well, I ended up with a TV network. I had no intention of, but it all started, and only because you said Les Brown that I want to share this, but I love Les Brown. He's one of my all-time favorites. And I always wanted to, and this was years ago, I wanted to see him in person. So I looked him up online, and I couldn't see where he was going to be anywhere. He's older and, sick here and there, and, things like that. And then one time I'm at the mall, and first of all, I hardly ever go to the mall. Second of all, I happen to be on my phone at the mall for some reason, which is really, really weird. And this thing pops up for Les Brown. He was going to be in Newport Beach, which is like a 20-minute drive from where I live.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, what? And it
Right.
was like $100 to go. And I thought, no
Oh yeah.
way. I'm
No
so
way.
going to this. So I signed up to go, and then I didn't receive any information after that. And I'm thinking, I don't even know if this is real, but if it,
Yeah.
I could lose $100,
Right. For the chance to see Les Brown. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I show up, and it was the taping of World's Greatest Motivators, and Les Brown was one of
Wow.
World's Greatest Motivators. And they
Wow.
didn't have me on file there or anything, but I, could prove that I paid. And
Yeah.
so I get in there. I end up sitting really close to the stage, and Les Brown was
Wow.
there. Bob Proctor was
Bob
there.
Proctor. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Lisa Nichols.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, all these
Oh yeah.
fabulous people. And
Yeah.
it was just one of those weird things where I ended up quitting my job
Yeah.
at this point. I was in addiction recovery, and
Yeah.
I ended up quitting because I was like, I can't. This is my. This was calling me somewhere else, and like ready to go on my own path. And the
Yes.
fun thing about it is, I went. There was 3 tapings altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up quitting my job so that I could go to the last 2 tapings because I didn't
How
have any
about it?
Yeah. And I mean, granted, there were other reasons too, but I timed it so that I could do that.
Right. Right. They made it
On
easy for you
purpose.
to quit. Yeah.
And it was really cool because now that show, World's Greatest Motivators, is on my TV network. So
Whoa. Oh my gosh. Are you serious?
how
Wow.
cool is that? And I talked to the producers, of that show,
Wow.
every couple weeks or so. So it's one
Wow.
of those things where I
Wow.
went from, standing in the mall.
Wow. On your phone.
On my phone, like, what? Where? No
Wow.
way. To having
my
that
gosh.
on. Yeah, it was absolutely
Wow.
amazing.
That is amazing. And just the idea. But see, it goes back to that part with what you just said, where you quit your job, where you took that leap, right?
Mhm.
There's always that place where you're required to take a leap, where you gotta it's like jump into the clouds, and it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna fly or if I'm gonna splat on the ground, right? And it's
Yeah.
always that. There's always that place where you have to do it. And it's just, I don't know, but it's always that. And just think, if you wouldn't have done that, how
Mhm.
many people's lives would be impacted by you not making that decision, right? Just so many people are able to hear, I mean, wow, you have a TV network. Like, how cool is that? And you want to do it. And it's like, but if you wouldn't have done it, all these people wouldn't have been impacted. Like, wow, that's so amazing. It's so
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, same with you. It's like you are literally changing people's lives when they're moldable.
Yeah.
More moldable.
Yeah, more moldable. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's where, that was kind of what I saw, was, how do we, so kids are being inundated with all kinds of content right now,
Mhm.
and overwhelmingly large amounts, unfiltered content. And for a child's mind, that's a lot. And so, you have to counteract that. There has to be some kind of positivity, or we're going to have a bunch of kids out here that don't believe in themselves, right? That don't believe in their ability, right? They have no self-efficacy. They don't believe, right? They
Mhm.
don't believe that they can attract, right? The kinds of friends and people that they want, or the kind of life that they want. They don't believe that they can be more than just what's in their environment, right? Because
Mhm.
the statistics say that if you're in a terrible environment, you're going to end up, quote unquote, being terrible as well, right?
Mhm.
And all those facts may be true, but like Dexter Yeager says, when the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. And
Mhm.
so if we don't get that into them while they're young, by the time they become adults and we're trying to give them that information, it's almost going to be too late.
Mhm. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I had this spiritual mentor, and I think you'll appreciate this, but he said, there's facts and then there's the truth.
Yes.
And like, those are
Yes.
facts. You might be in a bad area, and
Yeah.
it might be,
Yeah.
those are just facts, but that's not the truth. Your
Yeah.
truth, you can, I just
Yeah.
always
Your
love
truth
that.
is different. Absolutely.
Yeah, it doesn't have to
Absolutely.
be real for you. That doesn't have to be your reality.
Not at all.
Anyway, we do need to go to one more commercial break, so we're going to be back
Okay.
in just a minute. And I said hello to everybody who's watching us live. Now it's time for me to say hello to everybody who's watching us on demand. We're so glad that you're here. So as I mentioned, it is time for us to go to commercial. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the types of programs and things that Shaun has, and maybe some things that you could do to notice that, to help your kids. So we'll be back in just a minute.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's bring our guest Shaun back to the show.
What's up?
So, during the commercial break, I was thinking about how you've grown from, you as a person, and also how you have grown into this role that was sort of made for you.
Yeah.
I gotta give props one more time about, it's not something that you chose, but yet you stuck with it through the thick, the thin, the ugly, all the things.
Yeah.
And made this like amazing thing. So I want to talk about all the different types of, offerings that you have, because there's so many different things. I mean, even your shirt, so people can buy merch. What can people do to help support or even become a part of the community? All that.
So the primary thing is You Can Have It All. So we have youth magazine. It's called You Can Have It All, and it's a kids magazine designed to motivate children around the world to go after their dreams. And so if you have a kid that you will want to have entertaining and fun and positive content, then you would tap into and subscribe to You Can Have It All magazine. And that is where you would get the content for your kids. That's where we have the comics for Team Hot Sauce. And on there, that's where there is merchandise for, the t-shirts. We have shoelaces for kids. We have hats. We have all kind of stuff for them. And if a parent as well wants to get information as far as how to improve their children, right, and improve their performance, then they would definitely contact us. Go to GoSFB.com to be able to do that. And so those are the two places that they'll be able to get the things that we offer.
I like that. And then you also have community events as well, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. Well, so the community event, so for example, the one we're doing this Saturday is parent orientation for camp, because summer camp is going to start in a couple weeks. And so we are doing parent orientation and let parents know about the summer camp and how that works. And, all the different trips will be going on this summer. And then after that, we're going to have a bounce house bonanza. So it's going to be like 6 or 7 different bounce houses and all kinds of different games. And it's, free barbecue, and we fry fish and all that for the families, just to get people out. So kids are in a positive environment to come be able to have some fun for a couple hours on a Saturday, and then go back on about their day. You can actually go on Eventbrite for that right now, or go to campwarriorking.com and register for that. And it's totally free.
I love that so much. I love that, you're creating all these things. And then, for those people that don't know, it's like, you got to come up with, you got to get all the different parts, and people don't think about that. And with something that big, did you even need to get permits and stuff like that?
For the bounce house,
yeah,
for that event, well, you have to get permission for the places that you're going to use. Depending on the size, you don't need a permit. You definitely got to have like the police or the fire department notified, and and that kind of stuff. But normally, in every city and municipality is different. Normally you can do an event and you let the city know or whatever, and it's not a big deal, especially if it's something that's free. Typically, where you start to get into a lot of the sticky stuff is when money's involved. When if you say, hey, we want to use your park and we're going to charge for people to come into the park, they're going to say, okay, well, sure, you can use it, but you're going to pay us as well. So that's when it starts to gets real sticky. But normally, if you're going to do something and it's a philanthropic kind of thing, you normally don't have too many issues, because you need it, right? The communities need it. They need people that are able, right? We're blessed to be a blessing. They need people that are able to come and be able to give people hope, right? Hey, look, you can do it too. Hey, hey, just have a Coke and a smile, right? Can we give you just 5 positive minutes, right? Sometimes they call it 10 peaceful minutes, right? But just a little bit of time to just say, hey, life is good. I got a nice hot dog. I don't have to worry about lunch for my kids today. They're going to eat right here. They're going to go down to bouncy house. I get some time so that they're not in the house driving me nuts. And I can get through today and I can get to tomorrow. And sometimes that's just what it's about for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that too, because it's just as much for the parents.
Yeah.
My mom used to say, and it used to annoy me when I was a kid, but now that I'm an adult, I get it. She used to say that, kids would be great if you could just put them up on the shelf for a little while.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They'd be great if you could just do that, and normally you're able to do that when you have, grandparents around, or somebody that says, hey, look, you want to take the kids for the weekend? And you're like, what time you need me to be there? I mean, and you need that, and you need that. Absolutely. You need that break. Yeah. I mean, parenting, especially in this day and age in 2023, where you have so much that you have to account for, right? It's just things going on in the world, your career, right? Then you have kids, and just the things that are happening with kids as it relates to just so many social things happening, and how to be able to protect and cover your kids so that they're just children. There's so much to deal with, on top of the fact that, gas prices aren't getting any lower for anybody. And so it's how, as a parent, do you manage all of that and then still be able to manage a child or raise a child to become a positive impact in society, and then still be able to have some sense of self so that you can still be the person you want to be, in your own life. So it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true. That is so true. So we're running a little low on time, but I'm just curious, you mentioned about, making sure that there's a ton of positive stuff coming in to sort of counteract the negative. But how do you, kids are kids, so they're going to find what they're going to find. But
Right.
Well, for me growing up, I guess I would have loved, to have some input as well. So I guess what I'm asking is, what do you do when, do you think that's a good idea to communicate with your kids about maybe why you don't want them to, say, watch a particular show, for example, or what are your thoughts about that?
Absolutely. I think that in an information age, right, an information overload age that we're in now, you definitely want to have the conversation with your kid about why, so that they understand, right? Because it's
Mm-hmm.
all about, if it's just in all you're getting, get understanding. We want them to understand. So, for example, I have two boys. My boys love music. One really loves hip hop. Okay, so I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, so all right, buddy, you can listen to like old school hip hop where there's no cursing in it. I'm like, there's no, I have to the words, the lyrics, what are they saying? There's only certain things he can listen to. And so he's like, well, why? I said, well, man, because words are powerful. And what you hear, right, goes into your body, it goes into your mind, and junk in, junk out. And
Mm-hmm.
so when he gets, he's like, huh, okay, all right, cool,
Yeah.
all right, so hey, you can listen to so because you're gonna recite that song, you're gonna learn that song, right, you're gonna learn
Mm-hmm.
those words, and what I need you saying and professing out of your mouth needs to be speaking life to yourself and to other people, and not speaking destruction and death or anything negative. So it's the same thing with TV. There are certain things, man, my kids don't watch and probably won't ever see as long as they're in my house, not because I don't want them to see it, but because I know the impact. And so kids love structure. They love
Mm-hmm.
discipline. They want that. And I think a lot of times parents think that their kids are going to complain, and they don't, and they might. But they love the fact that at the end of the day, man, my parents care about me. They really love me. Because when they go to school and they hear their friends say, oh man, I've got to watch this, I got to watch that. They're like, man, your parents let you watch that, man. My parents don't let me watch that. And they start to see how kids are acting, and they may not say that makes a huge difference. That's
Mm-hmm.
incredible difference. Well, you definitely talk to them and communicate about that.
I love that. Well, we are basically out of time. We have about a minute left. Is there any last thoughts that you'd love to share with the audience?
Go after your dreams and don't let anything stop you. Take the leap. Take the leap. If it's something that you want, take the leap. Build the plane in the air. It'll work for you. And I tell you, the thing about hitting the ground, because people always say, well, you never hit the ground. That's not true. You might hit the ground, but you'll bounce up. That part is true.
Mm-hmm.
You may have failures. I guarantee you're going to have failures and things that happen. But if you keep going, man, you'll bounce up and you'll keep going to the next thing. Dare to be great.
Oh, I love that. And on that note, that is all the time that we have for today. I just want to say thank you, Shaun. That was absolutely amazing. I feel inspired, and
Thank you, Julianne.
you are doing wonderful things in the world. I'm so glad you could be here today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And that is all the time we have, everybody. Thank you again for being here, and we will see you again soon. Enjoy the rest of your week, everyone.